Welcome to the House Concert Interview. I'm your host, Richard Sherman. As you may know, the intent of the House Concert is to showcase some of the outstanding performing arts talent in Central Oregon, with the hope that you might financially help support them so they'll still be here when we get to the other side of this pandemic. And I hope you'll check out their concert. Our featured guest today is John Batdorf. Over the course of several interviews, hopefully we'll learn about John's leaving home at age 15 to make the music scene in Los Angeles, his negotiating record contracts with the star-making machinery of David Geffen, Clive Davis, and especially Ahmet Ertegun, the founder of Atlantic Records. We'll learn about his touring with the likes of Bread, America, and Seals and Croft, his induction into the Las Vegas Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, his turn to studio work when the killer hit didn't come, his scoring music for television shows, and then his return to his musical roots of writing and performing original music. Maybe even hear something about double dating with Squeaky Fromm. But before we get to that, John, I know the soundtracks to recovery has been an important part of your life. What can you tell us about that, and how did you get involved?
The experience I had when I was a youth at age 15 in California without parents and really without any kind of role models. My role models were 18 and 19-year-old guys, not great role models for a 15-year-old. And as a 15-year-old, that's kind of when you're developing, your goals, your life goals, trying to figure out who you are and what you want to be and how you're going to get there. And the thing that really helped me the most was listening to all the great composers of that time. The Beatles obviously were great. Paul Simon, Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, the list goes on. It was the era of fantastic songwriting. And for a kid to grow up in that era who wanted to be a musician, it was great and made such an impact on me and helped really kind of set the path for me in my life. And so many years later, 1985, my wife and I have twin boys, Matt and Brett, and we are thrilled to be parents, and we think that we're ready. We waited 12 years to have kids. And I was a stay-at-home dad. My wife was involved in all the schooling and a stay-at-home mom. I was doing my music in my studio, so we were always there. I did Little League for the kids for 10 years. Just because other parents said they didn't have the time. Well, I didn't either, but I made the time because I thought it was important to our kids. So we thought we were doing everything correct, participating in their lives without being helicopter parents, but just being there for them and trying to guide them through their life. And everything was going pretty well, we thought, until the high school years, which is, I remember high school kind of, that my son Matt started using drugs, and my wife and I had been from the era of the Summer of Love and figured we could figure out how to get through this. And it went from the drugs we understood from our youth to scary drugs that we didn't understand, like methamphetamine. And my son became very addicted to that, and we didn't know what to do. We tried everything. We tried tough love. He got arrested. He got kicked out of the house, and nothing was working. Didn't want to hear from us, didn't want to talk to us because, he wasn't interested. So my buddy Michael McLean, who I'd been writing with since I think it was 1989, 1990, we came up with this idea to maybe write a song about the struggles of someone who is an addict and how it affects them and people around them and what the expectations are. And without knowing it would do anything, I made a demo of it and went to pick up Matt in the car and played it for him on my cassette. That's how long ago it was. And it was the first time there had been a barrier knocked down from this lack of communication that we had. And he understood what I was singing about, and I understood that he knew what I was singing about. And it kind of changed everything. Not that it was the cure-all, but it was the first time that there had been movement in a positive way. So Michael and I were really pleased that this kind of was a nice thing. Really liked the song, so I put it out on my Home Again CD, which was in 2006. And, as I started playing it live and talking about what it was, I started discussions with people who were at the shows who never would have ever brought up anything about addiction. But because I sang about it and talked about my life story and my experience with it, they opened up to me, and it was kind of an eye-opening thing for me. And Michael and I discussed the fact that if this worked for my son and also affected others that I'm playing for, that maybe we should write songs and maybe put out an album that might help someone. We thought about the fact that when you go into a rehab, they take away your iPod because they think that you have a soundtrack to addiction. So we thought, what if we made a soundtrack to recovery and had songs that weren't preachy songs, the songs about life and what those folks are going through, and maybe get them through a moment of crisis. And initially, we had the album called 12 Songs for 12 Steps. And our running joke is that Michael McLean and I are not addicts. We are recovering perfectionists, and ended up with 17 songs on the album because we thought there were just a few other things we wanted to talk about, including just relationship issues and how those are struggles as well. So we started writing these songs, and we'd realized we'd been writing songs since 1990, not really knowing why we were writing the songs. But as we were developing this project, we kind of came to the conclusion, this is a little bit of, it's a little out there, but we thought that we met and we were meant to do this project. We just didn't know it until 2005. And so we thought, well, okay, this is great for us. It was great for my son. But how is it going to affect other people? So Michael found a recovery conference in Utah, and they asked us to come play. And these are all addicts, parents of addicts, and counselors. This was probably 2008. So I went up there. Here we are, two old guys, trying to tell all these young kids in the audience, that we have the key to unlock their addiction. So we played, and it was a little bit apprehensive in the beginning, because I'm sure this was not the style of music they had listened to before they were in the rehab. But at the end of the show, the people had literally rushed the stage and said, "Where can we get this?" And we just said, "Well, we haven't made it yet." And someone gave us a note that Michael never forgot about, and they just said, "Please hurry." And so we thought, okay, this is something we have to do. So we tried to do I think it was a Kickstarter campaign, and we did this whole video and we tried to raise money because we didn't have the money to do this album. We wanted to do it right, and so we got approved by Kickstarter, and then just before the Kickstarter campaign came out, they changed their rules and said that we don't want to do anything that has to do with any kind of causes or anything like that. They wanted to be just straight music. They didn't want any kind of thing that would be like addiction or whatever. They just didn't want to be tied to that stuff. So we got dumped. We didn't know what to do. We thought, well, we tried another platform. It was a bomb. So we thought, we have to make this ourselves. So we put up the money, and we made the album. 17 songs was just a lot of music. And made the record, had a great cover made by Michael's friend in in Utah. And it's a great picture of a guitar with a flower, and one of the flowers is connected to the guitar, which is just thriving, and the one that's not is dying. We thought this is pretty cool because we asked the artist we told him what we wanted, how the power of music and how this can affect people's lives. So he came with that. It was so brilliant. It was great. So here we are. We have this album. Okay, now what do we do? You know, nobody really knows. Nobody really cares. We have the album. And so Michael sent it out to some folks, and we started getting invited to recovery conferences. And people started asking us to be speakers. And we didn't speak. We sang. Michael would set up the song, and I would sing it. And it was a massive hit at these conferences because most of the people are listening to someone speak, and after about 15 minutes, it's like, even though they're saying important stuff, it's hard to keep that attention span. But with Michael setting up the song and me singing it and talking about my story, it was different. And again, was people came to the stage, wow, this is great, I need this for my counseling, I love to play these songs, and we were thrilled that they wanted to. And so in that time frame, someone else said, what can I do to help? And we said, well, we need a website. So he gave us money to make a website. We made the Soundtracks Recovery website, which is the number 2 recovery.net. And that was great. And then someone else said, I want to help. I have a soundstage. How can I help you? So we cut 6 videos, music videos, at his place, all because they were affected by this project and wanted to help. So now we have a website, we have a CD, which we loved, we have videos, and then we started getting more and more calls to do recovery conferences. And we actually did 2 up in Yakima a couple years ago, consecutive years. And they had us booked. They said, do you guys mind starting at 8 a.m.? It's easy to speak at 8 a.m., but I sing kind of high notes, and I don't sing a lot of notes at 8 a.m. So I got up really early and started warming up, and we did it, and it was another great success. I mean, it's just amazing. And it really kind of reminded me back in the day when we'd play, Mark and I would play songs where everybody knew what we were talking about, because it was that era when people were so captivated by the songs, because they didn't have the internet, they didn't have all the other distractions that are here now. But to be in a room with 1,000 people who are hanging on to every word, knowing exactly what you're singing about, even though it's not blatant, it's remarkable. You see people crying in the audience. It's been really a great thing for me. I didn't know I'd ever do something like this. Was no plan that we knew of, but maybe it was a plan. We just had to figure it out. And we've continued to do it, and we're just so honored to have possibly been chosen to do something like this. Because as songwriters, again, we don't really know where the gift comes from, but we're so happy to get it. And this was a gift that was given to us, and we really appreciate it.
Very cool. So are you still going to different conferences, or you're open? I mean, the website is out there, so people are still discovering what this is all about.
Yes. Well, it's kind of, Michael's got a really busy schedule.
Of course.
He just recorded a movie of his Forgotten Carols story that he wrote when I first met him back in late 80s. And, I'm busy doing my thing. And when we get offers, we don't really pursue it. We tried to get an agent to help, and it didn't really work. And mainly because it's not a full-time thing. I have scheduled, at least I did before the pandemic. And so when the occasion happens, we do it. And in my set, I always talk about it, and I do maybe 2 or 3 songs from the record. And it's just, it makes the set more interesting and deeper than it would have been if it hadn't been in the set. So I mean, that's the power of music. It's incredible, and it's hard for me to see the people at the conferences who are getting emotional during the songs that I was emotional about when I wrote them, and now I'm singing them to them, and they're connecting, and it's a powerful moment.
How's your son doing now?
He's doing fine. Knock on wood.
Cool. I know that you sang one song earlier from the soundtracks to Recovery. Are you in a position to do anything now?
I could play the first song that we wrote. Let me see here. And again, that's torecovery.net. And you can get that from my website, which is johnbatdorfmusic.com. It's all there. I have a really interesting thing that happened to me. I played at a place called Phoenix House in Columbia, Missouri, a few years back, and it was going to be a live concert during the lunch break for them, and they didn't have to come, but a lot of people showed up, and ironically, a nephew of mine committed himself. He was committed to this place 2 nights before I was supposed to play there. And he shows up, ready to check in, and there's my poster on the wall. And he goes, "That's my Uncle John." And it was so cool and to see him there. And he was going through a rough time, and it was really great. Anyway, this is a song called "I Don't Always Win." I'd be a liar if I said that I'm alright. There's no denying that I'm better than I've been. But every hour I'm alone, it's still a fight that I don't always win. No need to tell me what will happen if I lose. I know the hell that will await me once again. But it's a battle, that's the reason for these blues, that I don't always win. No, I don't always win. Such a sweet companion when I feel abandoned, keeps poisoning this canyon called my life. So where will you be when I go another round? Have you decided yet whose corner you'll be in? If it's a champion you think you might have found, well, I don't always win. Still that sweet companion when I feel abandoned, keeps poisoning this canyon called my life. Yeah. Do 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 do. Every victory I'd be a liar if I said that I'm alright. There's no denying that I'm better than I've been. But every hour that I'm alone, it's still a fight that I don't always win. No, I don't always win. I play guitar, I like that best. I'm not a star, oh, but I've been blessed. I sing real high, that pays the rent. Some days I wonder why am I this guy, and what has all this meant? I share these tunes straight from the heart, and pretty soon you'll know your part in the refrain or in the verse. These aren't just my songs, I'm passing them along because I heard them first. So when your soul needs fixing, and your life's a contradiction, and you're burning down like a cigarette, I've got songs for addiction, or any old affliction, some tunes to help you with your regret. What to remember, what to forget, 'cause you ain't dead yet. You ain't dead yet. I think I'm here for something more. It's not to steer the ship to shore or rescue those who'd rather leave. 'Cause I'm part of this crew, I'm in this boat with you, 'cause I've always believed that when your soul needs fixing, and your life's a contradiction, and you're burning down like a cigarette, I've got songs for addiction, or any old affliction, some tunes to help you with your regret. What to remember, what to forget, 'cause you ain't dead yet. And maybe you're wondering if this could really help. Remember, I'm singing for you and for myself. 'Cause when my soul needs fixing, and my life's a contradiction, and I'm burning down like a cigarette, I've got songs for addiction, or any old affliction, some tunes to help me with my regrets. What to remember, what to forget. So if you get that feeling when you hear me singing, we're not strangers but friends that haven't met. Well, it's the same back at ya, I hope I'm gonna catch ya, humming along throughout my set. This is my intro to what you'll get, 'cause you ain't dead yet. No, you ain't dead yet. No, you ain't dead yet. No, you ain't dead yet. That's right.
Great.